This hypothesis because of a recent experience with Vipassana. So, from Maha split test scientific experiment labs, this is a scientific hypothesis and the participant invitation. Okay, Maha split test, attention to nostrils, breath experiment, Vipassana-derived. You are invited to participate in a short, rigorous, tracked experiment exploring how breath affects body, emotion, and cognition. The method is simple, drawn from my recent Vipassana practice. We will collect standardized reports so we can compare outcomes across participants and conditions. So the scientific hypothesis is very clear and is testable. Primary hypothesis: sustained focus attention on the front of the nostrils and optional internal nasal passage produces measurable changes in body regulation and subjective well being. Compared to baseline participants who practice this focused attention, will show one or more of the following within days to weeks. Okay. So improved autonomic regulation, example reduced resting heart rate or increased parasympathetic indicators. Okay. So increased subjective feelings of completeness, groundedness with breath. This is also possible. I experienced this very much. Okay. Uh, Greater awareness of links between emotional, mental states and breathing patterns. This is a very, I think, the key. This is like a golden key giving to the people if somebody just discovers this, that your breath is connected to your emotions. So I think when people discover, that's why I'm putting this as hypothesis, the primary part of the hypothesis. So what are the operational definitions? Focused nostrils attention, we're calling it FNA. Sitting or standing, bringing attention to the very front of the nostrils and tactile sensation of air on skin there. Optionally, when helpful, gently expand attention into the inner nasal passage, the feeling of air moving inside. The session length, you can parameterize it into any contiguous practice with minutes to hours to even days and life also if you choose that. Baseline, a 3-day practice log, normal breathing baseline. So basically we require you to first practice it for 3 days first. After that, create the hypothesis and test it, because based upon the experience only you should create the hypothesis. Okay, so sign up, consent, and basically go to Sanatana. And first thing is you should register so that we can see the presentation, and then you will know what it is, how to conduct the test. The very basic thing you can start with is, you can take it in 3, 6, 9 steps. Do for 3 minutes first, and then do for 6 minutes, and then next do for 9 minutes, focusing on your breath on the front of the nostrils, and then do that 3 times, and then repeat that 3 times again after a couple of hours. It may not be just 1 hour. Okay, and then you can also increase it as time goes. How much time you spend on it every day or every week or every month. It's up to you. Important to understand that the breath needs to be felt like touch. The air touches. It's important to. So you can note down any sensations, thoughts, emotions, or any breathing changes. Any subjective, you can rate them, for sense of completion and groundedness also, 1 to 10. How much you felt grounded and how much you didn't feel grounded. You can compare to regular life. We are also monitoring HRV, heart rate, so blood pressure, blood sugar levels, and everything. We're also monitoring anything that is required, the physical with physical instrumentation like scanning the brains and with electrodes, So all that. Also we're doing some neck ones, also some new innovations, eye scanners also. So all kinds of instruments we are using to, and this is part of hypothesis. And anybody wants to get started with it, they can start with the company will give you loan for your lab cost, equipment that you need to buy or anything. Even to create awareness, it requires money. So we'll fund you if it makes sense to us, and we also can work with you on a percentage. All this data is presented to the scientific community automatically by AI. You don't even have to do anything, because even the hypothesis is created by the AI. You just have to ask in your normal words, because this site is designed for Sanatana Dharma to test the Sanatana rules, and they don't know science. So we removed science from the scientific experiment. Each participant serves as their own control, baseline, plus intervention plus follow-up, Pre-post comparisons will be there. Collect baseline for 3 days, intervention 7 days or 21 days, or follow-up 7 and 8 days. or we can do 42 days or 3 months also. Group 1 will be focused on nostril front focus only. Group 2 will be nostril front focus on inner passage, like split test, second part of the split test. Third group will control will be mindful attention to hands, control to focus on hands. So this is the control group, who are not focusing on the nostrils. So we will test them, separately, right? No, at the same time, So sample size, we can say like 20 plus members is also good, but if hundreds of thousands of people join in this experiment, it will prove it for good to the scientific community. So I expect everybody to join. Where I have learned the Vipassana, I cannot reveal their names because they're really super quiet people and they don't want any attention. Okay, so that's the thing. So this is it, guys. Let's get started. This is a great tool for Sanatana Dharma and other people also. Let me give you like a simple like how it works. So like as soon as you create an account, and then you join as a split tester. Okay, when you become a split tester, you are given a lab automatically, a personal lab. So in the personal lab, you'll have like all the courses and books that you need to read. There will be AI, Ganesh AI, which will help you with any topic and teach you. Another part of that section is whose hypothesis you're currently, bookmarked or favorited or, brought into this lab. And, there will be experiments, experiments are experiments on hypotheses. So these are personal experiments that you are conducting or you are conducting with a group of people. So you can have multiple experiments like that. So this becomes a lab. Now this is a private, if you keep it private, it's your personal lab, but if you make it public, anybody can come and join this lab, and you can rename the lab to anything you want, and you can also create other labs, specific labs, which are other focus. Like, so if you can create one lab for yoga lab, and you can create another lab for art of living, Sudarshan Kriya, another one for, Sadhguru, Shambhavi. You can invite people to join your lab, and do the experiments, the ongoing experiments. You have the tools. You can sell your products, and services in your lab. Yeah. For all these hypotheses, you will require certain knowledge which is not available out there, or certain practices, certain service from your side of products in case of Ayurveda or other, and maybe there are some other things, like material things for Vibhuti things also need to be tested. Scan the QR code to apply to see the presentation. Once you see the presentation, you can decide to be a split tester. Once you become the split tester, you can start doing the scientific experiments. Thank you.